Well, welcome to Thought for the Day. A bit of a change today. You're going to have a thought for the day from a joint thought for the day from the two of us, because we wanted to tell you about something that happened on our holiday. Many of you know that we went sailing. We went sailing in a boat a bit like this, not exactly like this, but a bit like this. It was a gaff rig boat. We were sailing on the Norfolk Broads. It had no engine, had a cabin with just space for the two of us. It was a lovely boat. Hopefully on the video I'll now be able to show you a picture of what it looked like. So it looked like this. And something happened when we were heading for a place we hadn't been. It's the far side of Marton Broad, which is the top of the River Thurne. We'd had quite a long, hard sail to get there against the wind. Finally got up to almost within sight of where we were going. There was the river changes direction, goes across a bit of an open broad and then goes up to the harbour. So we finished the bit that was dead against the wind, and we thought, great, we're just going to be there. So we set off, bore away on the channel, then came into the open broad, and at that point it all got a little bit tricky because we found the wind was still against us. We thought we'd changed direction, but the wind was still against us. So we had to tack, and the broad was a bit scary the way it was laid out. It wasn't an open broad where you could sail anywhere. There was a channel you had to go along, and the posts marking the edge of where you could go had sort of fence netting on them. So compared to most of the broads, where if you go to the edge it's just soft, here's if you go to the edge in the wrong place, there's a chance we'll get scraped on this wire netting. So that was the situation. A bit tricky. We started to tack, but got into a bit of trouble, ran aground and realised this is just going to be too hard. We don't have an engine, but we do have a quant pole, a great pole that we can push the boat along with. So I think we took the sails down, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah, we took the sails down and said we'd just have to quant this bit. Up to this point, Helen had done most of the quanting for reasons she'll explain in a moment. So at that point we were heading into the broad, sails down, stuck on the mud, but about to push ourselves off. And Helen pushed us off. The boat went backwards a bit. We kind of but got control and started off heading down the broad. And Helen's now going to tell you what it felt like as she was quanting.
Now, I enjoy quanting, but it is quite hard work. You have to walk up and down back and forth along the boat, pushing it along when you're walking back, and carrying this quite big pole. And there is a chance that you end up in the water, so it's a little bit scary. But I would far rather do that than steer. And it was going fine, and it's hard work, so I was out of breath. But as far as I could tell, it was going fine.
But from where I sat, it looked a bit different. Helen was quanting fine, but I could see that it was quite a long way. We were going to have to go not just across this open bit, but along another quite long bit to get to the place where we could put the sails up again. And I was also hearing Helen being out of breath. In fact, I probably asked her, how are you doing? Do you want me to take over? And she said something like that answered me, but of course she was out of breath. And now one of the things I find it very hard to do is to interpret Helen being out of breath as Helen being out of breath. I always hear this, and when she's trying to talk at the same time, it sounds like she's unhappy. So although she said she was fine to do it, it made me think I need to take over. And also I could see better than her that there was some way still to go. So I offered again, so don't you want me to take over? I mean, you're starting to sound a bit tired. And I did also sense that she was flagging a little. And one of the dangerous things when quanting is to lose speed, because if you lose speed, you don't have enough. You lose steerage way, and then you end up in the bank again. So one or two concerns. But I think the main issue was I simply misinterpreted the fact that she was simply working hard.
Now the thing about Tom quanting is it means I have to steer, and in my head that meant it was going to all go horribly wrong and we'd be in the bank anyway. But I realised, now he'd mentioned it, that he was right and I was slowing down. So there was nothing else for it. He'd have to take over the quanting and I'd have to steer.
So we swapped over. I got some quanting, which I quite enjoyed, and Helen steered very competently to the place where we could put the sails up again.
Now I'd like to be able to say that I prayed about it, but I'm not sure I did. But I do know this, that God used that to help me to overcome my fear of steering the boat.
And the point of that is that God's like that. He loves us so much that he takes every opportunity to grow us, to help us to overcome those unnecessary fears. May he do that for you today. God bless.